bring out the aesthetic soul you didn't know you had in you. We deserve a mildish, a folklore quaintly childish, of something Oscar Wildish in a pantomime or dance.
We never sleep, we think of places of museum, and we know just what we do, because we always take our shots.
The Provincetown Playhouse still owns the art of Robert Edmund Jones. From the classic drama where a notable succession is, we've even made the censors feel the verity of Gene O'Neill. The meaning doesn't matter if the matter is expression is. Our one great contribution to art is revolution. Our mood is very Russian. You can tell it at a glance.
Our taste very funny, but it saves us lots of money, and we know just what we do, because we always take our shots.
For your attention, many thanks. We've brought along subscription blanks for the Actors Theater that the audience may glory in. The dear old servant in the house, the pride of Mr. Rankintouse, the plays of Henrik Ibsen in a manner quite Victorian. We spurn the bedroom dramas with heroes in pajamas for things that pleased our mamas, such as Candida's romance.
We wear the smoking Ruskin to the taste of the Ruskin, and we know just what we do, because we never take our shots.
Good evening. Welcome to a Richard Rogers Review. Tonight we celebrate the extraordinary career of one of the most gifted of American songwriters, Richard Rogers, who was born 100 years ago this year, and his two songwriting partners, Lorenz Hart and Oscar Hammerstein. To make it easier, we neatly divided the evening into two halves. First half, Rogers and Hart. Second half, Rogers and Hammerstein. Our opening number was, appropriately enough, an opening number. Soliciting Subscriptions, sung to us by Hank Ribbs and the Ladies Choir, was the opener for the Garrett Gaelies, the second musical produced with a score by Rogers and Hart, of which we'll hear more shortly. Richard Charles Rogers was born on June 28, 1902, in New York City, and lived with his family on West 120th Street. His father was a doctor, but it was music that attracted young Richard's interest. He first began composing songs as a piano at age 9. As he wrote many years later in his autobiography, Musical Stages, I don't remember that the family expressed any particular surprise. I suppose they just took my music for granted, something I certainly did not. I was on my way, and from then, I never wanted to do anything else with my life. Rogers and Hart met for the first time in 1917, when Rogers was 16 and Hart 23. Here is how Rogers described his first glimpse of his future partner. The total man was hardly more than 5 feet tall. He wore frayed carpet slippers, a pair of tuxedo trousers, an undershirt, and a nondescript jacket. His hair was unbrushed, and he obviously hadn't had a shave for a couple of days. All he needed was a tin cup and some pencils. But Rogers would soon learn that behind the rough exterior there lived a sharp, intelligent mind and a warm heart. They started collaborating immediately, and 2 years later, they had their first published song, a little number that musical comedy star Lou Fields interpolated into his 1919 musical, A Lonely Romeo. I suppose it will seem pretty sophomoric, Rogers wrote years later, but perhaps this can be excused on the grounds that I wasn't to be a sophomore for another 3 years. The song was performed for the first time on August 26, 1919, at a Wednesday matinee at the Casino Theater in New York City. It wasn't much of a splash, Rogers noted, but to Larry and me, Niagara Falls never made such a roar as the sound of those nice matinee ladies patting their gloved hands together as the song ended. So ladies and gentlemen, pat your hands together for Jim Tarbuck singing Any Old Place with You. Place with You was not a hit. No fault of Jim Tarbuck. And neither was the first show for which Rodgers and Hart wrote a complete score, Poor Little Ritz Girl, produced the following year, 1920. It would be another 5 years before the young team would have another show on Broadway and achieve the fame that they worked so hard for. The Garrick Gaieties was an irreverent revue, staged twice on a Sunday in May 1925. To raise funds to buy 2 tapestries to cover the walls of the New Guild Theater. The review was so well received, however, that it became a regular commercial show and ran for 211 performances. The Garrick Gaieties also produced Rodgers and Hart's first hit song, a little ditty in honor of their great city they loved and lived in, Manhattan. The song was originally written for the unproduced show Winkletown in 1922, which interestingly enough had a book co-written by Oscar Hammerstein. One half of the young couple who sang the song in the Garrett 80s was a man named Sterling Holloway, who would go on to become one of the most eccentric character actors in Hollywood in the 1930s and 40s. All you baby boomers will also remember Holloway as the gentle narrator of a number of Walt Disney cartoons. A few years later, Rodgers and Hart attended an opening night of another production of Field Theater. Hart looked up at the two tapestries hanging from the wall and said, "See those tapestries? We're responsible for them, Dick." "No, Larry," Rodgers corrected, "they're responsible for us." And now Manhattan, sung by Dan Wagner and Joanne Aaron.
Summer journeys to Niagara and to other places, and Rivito
Garrett Gaieties was so popular that a second edition played the Guild Theater in 1926, again with a score by Rodgers and Hart. For this production, the team wrote a companion piece to Manhattan, taking the young lovers out of that number from the city into the country.